Infirmary Media.
Welcome to the Selling Out Show.
You're excited! Feel these nipples!
What it does is reaches into your brain chemically and locates your happiest memory chemically, and then locks onto that emotion and freezes it chemically, and then it keeps you happy.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Selling Out Show, where we screw up life at our leisure for your listening pleasure. I am one of your hosts, David Schultz, and by my side, yes, indeed, my partner in crime, the man, the myth, the motherfucking legend has returned from the dead, everybody. I want to reintroduce you to Nathan Gorzinski. Nate, how are you?
Dude, I'm good, but I don't think I can live up to such an epic introduction there.
Well, you damn well better try, man. Come on now. It's been so long since you've been on your own show. It's been almost 2 months.
I know. You're this close to having to rename the show, you know, just to make sense, because I've been gone so long, and then you could rename it with my name once I came back. But it was almost like the listeners would be like, who the hell is Nate at this point? You know?
No, I was going to keep it like Journey. You know, when you just switch to lead singers and you just say, fuck it, we're keeping the name. We already got the T-shirts printed up.
There you go.
We're good. Yeah, exactly. There you go. You know, so, but man, I got to tell you, I am so happy to have you back, my pal, my buddy. I mean, listen, you know, before we even get to any of the other stuff that we're going to discuss on the show, first things first, you were in some dire straits, my friend, and I think our audience would like to hear exactly what happened to you and what took you away from us.
Sure, man. Well, again, this feels like ancient history at this point, because it was a few months ago, but we were doing some episodes where I mentioned I had been in pain. I've had some back pain, and I actually had a little fall, so I attributed all my pain in my back to that fall. But as it turns out, it was a little more than just that fall. The fall was just kind of what made the pain intensify. I'll explain. So I was going to my doctor with this back pain, and he was sending me to physical therapy and giving me muscle relaxers and all these things. And for about 6 weeks, until one day after those 6 weeks, he tells me, you know, I've noticed your weight has dropped significantly. Like within those 6 weeks, something like 25 pounds in 6 weeks.
Holy cow, getting svelte there, buddy.
Dude, honestly, I mean, for some people that sounds great. They wish they could lose 25 pounds in 6 weeks, but I'm thin as it is, man. And I was dangerously skeletal, and, you know, and I was just attributing it to the fact that I'm in so much pain. I didn't want to eat, or I was really depressed. I was going through a lot because, dude, being in pain, in that kind of pain for that long does a lot to you mentally. Just being, you know, constantly having that pain. And, man. And so anyway, the doctor says, you've lost all this weight. I'm going to send you for a CAT scan because I'm nervous you've got cancer or some shit. You know, you're losing weight like dangerously fast.
Yeah, right. So absolutely.
I go for the CAT scan. He schedules it for like 2 days hence. I go in, and dude, within 2 hours, hour and a half, something like that, I get a phone call, and it's my doctor, and he goes, Nate, I just got your results from that CAT scan, and get to an ER immediately. You've got this weird infection in your spine, and also your liver and spleen are enlarged, which could be because of the infection, whatever. I'm still not clear on that. Spoiler alert, you know. But
right, yeah, but that's crazy, man. Because again, you're saying the doctor is fearful. You have something worse than just the pain that you're attributing to a fall. Right. So I mean, what's going through your mind at this time too must be the absolute worst. Like, what do I have?
Yeah.
And then you get the call, get your ass to the fucking ER now. It's like, did you shit your pants or what?
Pretty much, man. I mean, there was a part of me that felt a little, to be honest, vindicated because I've been telling this doctor for 6 weeks that the pain feels worse than just like a pulled muscle. Like I'd be telling him that, and that it felt like it was something structural, like in my frame. Like I felt like I could not physically hold up my upper body, like my backbone felt like it couldn't bear the weight anymore. And as it turns out, there was a reason, because some bacteria was eating it, like putting holes in my spine and in my disc and whatnot. So basically that's what happened. I mean, yes, to answer your question, I was freaking out because I'm like, what does this mean? It's my spine.
But you're like, haha, I'm right. Fuck that quack. He doesn't know shit.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God it's not a pulled muscle.
Yeah, jeez.
No, but to be honest, man, yeah, I was terrified because it's in your spine. You're thinking, am I going to end up paralyzed? And I don't know. It's
the worst.
Or whatever. And yeah, so that's basically what happened. He sent me to an ER. At the hospital, they admitted me from the ER to the actual hospital, and they did the biopsy on my spinal infection, which was nasty. They're sticking needles into the infected area to pull out samples, and they had to send those in to get cultured. What does that mean? They went to school?
Yeah, I guess so. Learn their manners.
Yeah.
How to hold a teacup.
Yeah, call Emily Post. But no, they had to find out what kind of bacteria it was, so they sent it out for all these tests, and like the results of my biopsy, that is, they sent them out, and it came back as this nasty little bacteria called Serratia. It's this weird whatever, some kind of
sounds like a chili pepper.
Yeah, right. You put it on, Sriracha.
Yeah, I think I sprinkle it on your taco.
Yeah. I had Serratia flavored chips. Maybe that's how I got infected.
Maybe. Could be it.
But anyway, the shit came back, so they knew what they had to give me for a treatment. It ended up being a 6-week round of antibiotics, and they had to do them not just IV, like in my vein, but they put in what's called a PICC line, and that's basically, dude, they take this like tubing, and they put it into your arm, into the big artery in your arm, or the vein rather in your arm, and they fish it down like a rotor-rooter all the way from your bicep down into your chest, and it dips it like right above your heart. Like it's like dipping into the top of your heart, which is really messed up. Yeah, I had this tube like in my fucking heart, and they would give me every like 8 hours for 6 weeks. They were giving me this treatment of antibiotics through this tube, and it was just like, dripping into my heart. So that's basically what I went through. I was there for those 6 weeks. They sent me from the hospital to like a rehab, they call it, or, it was basically, dude, I was a nursing home. And again, that's something I can get into another time or later. But
sure, we'll talk about that later.
Dude, I was in a nursing home, for 6 weeks. And
a lot of hot babes there, right?
Dude, it was
as much
out of this
silver
world.
Cotton candy that you can eat.
I love it. I love it. Floss my teeth with that shit.
All right. See that? At least you kept your good spirits, even though you had a tube in your fucking heart.
Yeah, man. I was getting it directly to the source. Dude, did you know when, speaking of that PICC line, they were saying when they put it in, because of my history, because obviously you go in the hospital, everyone knows your history, and they ask you questions about it, and I'm upfront with them about, like, I have the history with opiate use and everything, which I had to do. I mean, dude, I'm going in the hospital, and I've got all this pain. And when I first get to the ER, like when my doctor first told me to go there, by that point, the pain was so excruciating that I was telling the doctors, like, look, I do have a history with opiates. I know, you know this or whatever. You can tell in my records, but, I'm in a lot of pain. They go, look, we're not even concerned about your history with opiates like this. We know you're going through so much pain. Dude, they were giving me IV Dilaudid, which is like basically heroin, every 2 hours they were dosing me with this shit. And, it was enough where it distracted me from the pain, but it really didn't, it didn't really alleviate the pain so much as it just makes you not care because you feel so happy,
Right, yeah.
But Yeah, man. But it was like being on dope, you know, it was bizarre. And I've since come off of that. They've dropped me down to other painkillers and whatever. It's,
you went from,
it was a whole weird thing. But,
muscle relaxers and physical therapy to Dilaudid overnight. Dude,
honest to God. And again, it was one of these where I'm like, in my mind, I'm almost like, thank God I'm not crazy, dude. Cause I was like, maybe I'm just being a bitch about this pain, but it feels really painful. And my doctor seems to think that I'm being irrational and that all I need is physical therapy and I'll be in muscle relaxers. Like he didn't want to give me like tramadol or like, you know, really strong ibuprofen and shit. The muscle relaxers my doctor was giving me were like weak muscle relaxers. They weren't even, I was asking him like, you know, are you going to prescribe like a Flexeril or something? And no, he was giving me like the weak ones because he's afraid to give me anything. But
that's the state of pain management nowadays in the United States of America, where the opioid crisis, it's going to sound weird, but it's ruined it for everybody else. Like if you were in legitimate pain or suffering, it doesn't matter because doctors are worried that you're the guy who's showing up faking or feigning a problem just to get high. And they don't want to be the one who wrote the script that someone OD'd on or whatever. And, you know, this is...
Exactly.
I'm going to compare it to something that probably makes no sense to anyone else but me. But it's almost like drinking at the beach, right? When I was a kid, everybody drank at the beach. Everybody's parents could drink at the beach. But then one day, some cocksucker started a fight with some other guy and... Oh, he was drunk, so that's the reason why they started this brawl on the beach. Well, guess what? Now booze is banned. No more partying on the sand. And it fucking screwed everything up. And the same thing happens here, where it just took a couple bad seeds to ruin it for everybody. Right?
Yep.
And I know that was a terrible comparison because addiction is a serious thing. We know it, you know, firsthand.
Dude, we can joke, man, whatever.
Yeah, but, you know.
I'm with you.
You get my point. You get my point wherein it's like people suffer all the time and they cannot get what they need. And it's aggravating, and these doctors become fucking pussies, man. Exactly. They tiptoe around the real fucking problem because even if they know what it is, they don't want to get in trouble. So, you know, is that really doing no harm? I don't fucking think so. That's causing more harm. But anyway, my rant is now over.
Exactly.
Back to you, my friend. So you've been hospitalized. They put you in. I'm sure you're kind of bummed about that, knowing that you're going to be locked up somewhere for, well, not locked up, but, you know, put away for 6 weeks. Even put away sounds bad, but you speak.
Dude, it's funny you say that because Carly, my girlfriend, kept saying how she felt bad when she'd come visit because I must be so bored just laying in this bed and looking at the walls or whatever. But honest to God, man, with my history of, you know, being locked up and having done time in solitary confinement and whatnot, and literally just having to look at the walls for days and days on end, I felt fine in there because I had not just books and people coming to visit me and whatnot, but dude, we live in the age of the internet and cell phones and iPads where I could literally watch any movie I wanted at any time. So I was fine. I kept saying if it weren't for the crippling back pain, this would be a pretty awesome vacation, man. Cause, you know, I had help, you know, with anything I needed. Food was being brought to me and yeah, I didn't really want for anything. And they were dosing me with narcotics every couple hours. So I was mellow. And between me, you, and our listeners, I had a constant supply of edible THC products with me. So, you know, the medicinal effects of those and the distracting, intoxicating effects as well, obviously. But honestly, dude, the medicinal effects, I almost felt more strongly than the opiates they were giving me. Like, I felt like I got more relief from eating edibles or using CBD tinctures, for example, and THC, CBD, like all the cannabis products in general were helping me almost more than the opiates they were giving me. So there's my little, you know,
plug
testimonial on that. Yeah, exactly. But so dude, I wasn't really hurting much as far as being lonely or bored. And dude, I make friends pretty easily. So the nurses, the staff, my roommates, whatnot, I was, you know, I was never lonely. Like in jail, you might get put in a cell with some sociopathic, weirdo. And at least in the hospital, they kind of, they tend to move those people out. If there's somebody that's, dangerous or whatnot, chances are you're not going to be put in with them.
Threatening to kill you. They're like, let's get this guy out of here. But, roommates is interesting because when I would talk to you on the phone, there was a guy kind of butting in on our conversation, but not intentionally.
Right.
So talk a little bit about that. Talk about the people that you had to room with during your recovery.
All right. Well, so once I got to the nursing home, this is what you're referring to, I had a room with two gentlemen, and mentioning, like I did, that it was a nursing home, these guys were much older than me. They were there for more permanent reasons. I was there getting 6 weeks of antibiotics. These guys were probably going to die there. Like, they were older gentlemen that it seemed like they didn't have family, coming to, or at least not coming to visit them. But the gentleman you're referring to was one of my roommates. His name was Richard, and Richard had an issue where he would just kind of, I don't know, I would think he was on the phone. We're all separated by curtains in the room. You could slide the curtains. It's a hospital room.
Right.
So you can, slide the curtains for some privacy. So I didn't really see the guys next to me so much as I could hear them. And that guy, I'd always think he was on the phone because he was having one side of a conversation with someone. But I found out after a while that no, there was no phone. Like, this guy was having conversations, and it sounded like he was talking to a social worker sometimes, or like he was calling a place he had just been, trying to get his clothes back, or, that he had left at some other facility. Like, he was having real conversations, but it's just eventually I found out that he wasn't having them with anyone.
Just with himself.
Dude, but it was nonstop and always repeating shit. And sometimes he'd cry. Sometimes he'd be in these conversations where he'd be apologizing to someone, and it was awkward. It was and I have sympathy for people with mental disorders, but
sure.
But I couldn't move, dude. I couldn't get out of that bed. I was in so much pain, and, I'm trying to read or trying to do whatever. And literally all day, if this dude was awake, he was talking. And so you'd have some relief overnight. And, so if I wanted to turn on my nightlight and read for a while or whatever, but dude, if one person made a noise, sometimes the staff would come in to take my vitals in the middle of the night or something, and they'd make a little noise, and that would wake Richard up. And dude, middle of the night, he'd just start talking. As soon as his eyes opened, it was he'd just start talking. It was comical. It would have been hilarious if I wasn't living with it day in and day out. So yeah, he was a character. And the other roommate his name was Doug, and this guy couldn't move either. Both of these gentlemen were, of the age where staff would come in and have to clean them. They were wearing diapers and whatnot. So, living in this nursing home was a strange early preview of end of life care, what I may. Yeah, dude. And, it was really weird. It was really this, especially being on edible THC products a lot. It was you'd think a lot about things, and then you'd be wow, this could be what the end of life is like. And I'm getting a glimpse of it now. But yeah, so anyway, these guys were constantly, either talking or the irony was Richard would talk nonstop. Doug, my other roommate, had this injury from earlier in his life where his windpipe had been damaged and his voice box was actually severed. So when he would talk, it was very raspy. You'd have to strain to hear him. And sometimes he'd have to repeat things because he sounded like he was trying to talk in a whisper, but loudly, like a whisper yell. And, it was, yeah. So one roommate couldn't shut up. And the other roommate, you could barely hear him, especially over the other guy talking. And, so yeah, it was a weird group to be roomed in with. But, yeah. And the other thing I just want to quickly mention is that being a nursing home, there were memory problems and whatnot and whatever. So nobody, especially in my room, would call each other by the correct names. So it was
oh, Lord.
Yeah. Doug would call Richard Robert nonstop. Richard would call Doug John or Jeff. They'd both call me like Matthew, or eventually Doug learned my name. But yeah, so it was this weird sort of like alternate reality where I'm like, am I crazy? Do I have their names wrong? Or
God, who's on first? Yeah. But what were you conversating about that you'd need to say each other's names?
Well, I mean, you know, me and Doug got to know each other pretty well. You know, he was the guy right next to me. I was like in the room closest to the door, like when you come in. Doug was in the middle and Richard was all the way over by the window, like all the way in the room. And Doug and I became pretty fast friends because he was on a lot of pain meds too. So we'd always be like comparing pain meds, joking around and like talking about how, you know, I don't know. We both had a lot of experience with things like that. So we'd joke around about that or.
Sure. You bonded over it. Sure.
Yeah.
Being high as a kite.
Dude, honestly, and occasionally I'd give him some of my edibles. You know, I'm putting myself out there on this podcast, but, you know, I gave the elderly gentleman who was probably dying in this hospital some relief here and there. And
please don't sue you. Yeah. That's what you're saying. If this guy is fucking dead right now because of whatever, it wasn't me and the edibles. Yeah, I swear.
Exactly.
Look the other way.
But yeah, man, but he was a good guy. We'd order Chinese food together. They'd come and deliver Chinese food right up to our floor in our room. And we're two guys in Johnny's stuck on IV tubes and shit getting Chinese food. And
one in a diaper.
Yeah, exactly, man. It was a weird life.
Who tipped?
The last
Who was the
months.
tipper? Who was the one leaving the chunk of change saying thanks for the fucking pork fried rice? Was it you or Doug?
It would depend. Sometimes we'd both pitch in. Sometimes I'd give him some edibles and he'd buy us Chinese food. You know, it was...
Were you giving edibles to the delivery guy? Like, here you go. Thanks for coming there. Whatever your name is, we're not even going to screw up your name now, so just take this and go.
Yeah, no, it looked like the delivery men, for the most part, had no trouble finding their own drugs. You know,
right.
If by the looks of them,
you'd be like, "Wait, who's going to pay for this? Wait, can you go talk to that guy over in the corner of the room by the window? He'll handle this one."
Yeah, and then he'd talk the ear off, so they just wanted to get out of there.
He'd start crying, just be like, "I'm sorry, I forgot my clothes at the last facility." He's like, "Just give me $12.50, asshole." You know, I do got to say one thing here is that you are being very political. Yeah. In the way that you describe the situation now, because I do specifically recall when I talked to you on the phone, you were not as pleased with your living situation. You were very agitated by the fact that this, the one guy there, Richard, would not shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
To the point where I even instructed you to antagonize him, maybe make him go crazy so he gets kicked off the fucking floor.
Yeah. Yeah, well, of course. I mean, there were times where I was tempted to just start answering him and like using some weird voice and whatnot. But dude, well, honestly, it's just when you're in it, when you're living in it and it's just constant and you're going crazy. Yeah, it's real easy to get pissed off and like, but now I'm a little more, diplomatic in my assessing of that situation. You know, I'm living with a couple dudes that guy, it turned out, was like homeless for God knows how long before he got there. So this was the best he'd had it in a long time. So, so he probably had a lifetime of talking to himself on the streets, so I cut him some slack now, but when you're living in it, man, you have a little less fucking patience, especially after like a week or two of just constant talking. And eventually they did move Richard out of my room and I think gave him more of a private room. But it was several weeks of me living with him. So yeah, it was a little trying, dude. I was not happy with Richard after a while. There were people on the floor. Like I had another friend, this guy, Rob, who, he was closer to my age and he was there because he had a leg amputated and he was going through all this. And that's a whole other story, but he had no patience for Richard. He would hear Richard day in and day out because you could hear him down the hall just talking. If Rob wasn't in a wheelchair with an amputated leg, he probably would have attacked, Richard for he just would have gone crazy after a while because Rob had been there longer than me and listening to it a lot longer than me. I had it full in my face being in the room with the guy, but Rob had heard him from down the hall, like for God knows how long before I got there. But anyway, that's,
I just want to know what kind of voice would you have used to fuck with him? Like, would you have done like 1930s gangster? Man, see? Shut up over there, Richard. I'm going to put some galoshes on you. Man, man. Or would you have talked like the voice of God? What options would you have chosen?
I think I would have probably gone for some creepy whisper, especially at night in the dark. Just been like, Richard, kill yourself.
Oh, shit. That's
that window.
Jump. Roll out. Yeah, you can't jump.
God.
You can't fucking move. It's like, rock your
he needed
body
help
back
washing
and
his
forth.
ass.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. Yeah, exactly. Jeez.
He would have been like ringing the bell for the nurse and asking them to open the window and then help him jump out.
Can you throw me out this window, please? Please. Throw me out this window.
Dude, the staff there honestly probably wouldn't have minded doing that because our room, the three of us were all stuck in bed. Like there were a lot of patients on the floor that could get up and get their own meds and do whatever. But if we needed anything, we had to ring for nurses. And all three of us were constantly, one of us always needed something. And we were at the last room all the way down the hall. So all the nurses and staff got tired of us pretty quick. They'd come in with like impatient faces and everything. And they were great staff, dude, but they were like, you could tell they were like done with us after a while.
They just hated walking down a hall.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much work, this walking shit. I'm wearing Crocs. Give me a fucking break.
Oh my God, dude.
Well, you did mention you had some nice nurses, or I believe it was a nurse. Didn't someone loan you some books?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had a few staff members that I connected with a lot, actually. I mean, I was pretty close with this one guy. He was like a physical therapy worker. He would do exercises with the patients and whatnot. But the guy saw me wearing a David Bowie shirt one day and he was like, oh, so we struck up a conversation because he was a big fan of Bowie.
Right on.
Yeah, man. And he was as knowledgeable. Like he was like a fan, like not just somebody that knew like Ziggy Stardust or something, that
Labyrinth.
A lot of people would know. Yeah. Like this dude knew like all the periods of Bowie and all the different, whatever. He was a nerd like us, with Bowie, a Bowieite. And he was also a big Frank Zappa fan and Captain Beefheart, all these, interesting artists from back in the day. And he was really into that shit. But anyway, so at one point he was like, oh, I have a book you might be interested in. And he brought me a biography on David Bowie. That was really fucking cool of him, and,
absolutely.
Yeah, man. And then this other worker, she was in the department that organized like activities for the residents, put together bingo nights and shit. Cause dude, there's not a lot to do in these, old folks home. They would, the activities would be like, oh, we're watching Castaway. We watched Castaway with fucking Tom Hanks one night or fucking play the Wii, the Nintendo Wii. They do Wii bowling and shit.
What about like crochet? Was there any crocheting going on? I expect some booties in the mail. We've now reached the part of the program where I would like to thank the show's sponsors because they provide some great products to us, and as a result, I get to give some awesome coupon codes to you. First up, we have Northland Vapor Company, and they can be found at northlandvapor.com. They are the makers of some truly outstanding e-liquids for vaping. And let me tell you something. All of their e-liquids and juices are diketone and artificial sweetener free. And you may be asking yourself, why is this important and what are you telling me this for? Well, in this day and age where everybody's concerned about what you're putting into your bodies, it's nice to know that Northland cares about telling you what they are putting in their product. Plus, their motto is quality doesn't need to be costly, so they're not going to rake you over the coals or rob your wallet just because you choose a healthier lifestyle of vaping over smoking. And if you visit northlandvapor.com, you can save 19% off your entire order by using code SELLINGOUT19. Next up, we have Spunk Lube. Oh boy, how I love me some Spunk, makers of award-winning lubricants. And I know some of you out there might be a little timid, might be a little bit shy and think, oh, I don't know if I want to use those. I don't even know if I want to order those. Well, first, let me tell you, the shipping process is incredibly discreet. You're not getting a big package in the mail that screams, hey, I'm buying lube. Second, you know what? Love life can get a little bit stale. You might need to spicing it up, and the best way to do that is with Spunk. Why let all the professionals in the adult film industry have all the fun when you can bring Spunk right into your home? Trust me, try it. Go to spunklube.com today, and you can thank me later. Last but not least, we have Alpine Hemp. The CBD revolution has arrived. If you haven't heard about CBD yet, you're truly missing out, as it can really help you with stress, sleep issues, pain problems, you name it. There's a whole litany of things that CBD is there to help you with. I'm an avid user of CBD myself, and let me tell you, alpinehemp.com has everything you could possibly need. From oils to tinctures to gummies to edibles, you name it, they even have pet-friendly products. There's no better place to go, and it is truly a one-stop shop. Plus, the website is easy to navigate. Whether you're new to trying CBD or you're like me and have been using it for quite a long time, you are going to love Alpine Hemp. And now's the time to try it, because if you go to alpinehemp.com and use code SELLINGOUT19, you save 19% off your entire order, off their already low prices. So what are you waiting for? Get on over there. And remember, when you shop with our partners, you help support the show. And for that, I thank you.
It was a weird sort of pause on my existence where it's like, nope, you're pausing your normal life. And this is your life for these like 2 months, and everything's weird, and it's fucking, you're on a lot of meds, so it's all very surreal. Like I was just lay in bed and take a fucking bunch of medication, and I would always joke, I'd be like, I feel like I've been spending the last couple months what most people would consider too high. Like, I was just like on all these edibles, and then they're like giving me all these fucking painkillers trying to kill the pain in my back. And honestly, the pain was so bad. It was like not really helping the pain so much as it was just distracting me. But,
sure, right.
But yeah, man, like I said, if it wasn't for all the back pain, it would have been a pretty fucking rad little, far out little shindig.
It'd be like a winter vacation instead of like a summer camp.
Yeah, man.
Just the winter vacation at an old folks home with
yeah.
And now you've been out for a couple weeks, so
yeah. You
haven't driven by the place, have you?
Nah, man.
Maybe Richard's hanging out the window right now and he needs someone to save him from falling, and you're nowhere to be found, and it's all your fault. You guys should have, speaking about having fun in there, someone should have painted his face up like Aladdin Sane and gone with the whole Bowie thing. Because he'd just be fucking muttering to himself, and
yeah, just make him into a character.
Yeah, exactly. Just paint him up like a fucking circus clown. Who knows? Whatever. Just to get your jollies. Which I know sounds terrible, because again, here I continue to make fun of the mentally ill, and I just can't stop myself. So,
dude, it's very, like I said, it's surreal. It's fucking weird. The people. It is funny, dude. You have to laugh at shit. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm probably censoring myself a little just cause I don't know. I've got more patience for some of that shit, having lived with it. But at the same time, I've got a good sense of humor about a lot of it too, because, some of these dudes, dude, it's fucking hilarious. Like I said, my roommates would have to be cleaned up, so first thing in the morning, these dudes have been asleep all night, and they probably shit or piss their diapers, and the staff comes in, and they're like changing the diapers, and I hear the guy, a curtain or two over saying, oh, look out, I got an erection over here, and unless you want to help me with that. And it's like, you realize how many dirty old men there are. I'm like, yeah, dude.
No, he's probably like, there's the peanut butter, baby.
Dude, I got so much patience for like medical staff too. Like, I know my girlfriend's been a visiting hospice nurse or an RN. She's an RN, and she's been for a long time. And being in this like place, I'm like, holy shit! Like the shit she would have to deal with, and like, because when people have dementia and they don't have like that filter, like, no tact. Especially an old man, like, because men can be dirty bastards. We are what we are.
Do you want to flick it? Come flick the head of my bone.
Like, I think my balls need a little extra washing today, honey. Like, I'd hear all this crazy shit, and I'm like, these fucking staff members have to like look at old balls all day and like wipe shit off of old scrotums all day. I'm like, this is rough, man. These people are heroes.
They truly are. You know what? We don't celebrate them, do we? We just pay them like shit.
Exactly, man. here's to all the nurses, and specifically the CNAs, the certified nurses aides and all that. Like those are the ones doing the real cleanups. Like the nurses, you know, they give medication and they get yelled at a lot by the, you know, the patients or whatever. But the aides were the ones that were doing all the cleaning shit and, you know, whatever, just all of that, like helping them wash up every day. And
I'm just thinking, yeah, dream scenario, you would have been in a room with Larry Flint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah. Here, come over here, honey. Can you insert this thing into my butthole, please?
Urethra.
My urethra is throbbing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna hear that shit anyway,
it hurts.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna hear that anyway, at least you could be like, well, I'm next to Larry Flint. This is gonna be a very interesting stay for me because, I mean, realistically, and this is a weird dichotomy, I suppose, is that you are a massive horror fan. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the show. You are the horror guy, and you lived a horror story.
I mean, kind of. It was a weird kind of psychological horror where I was like questioning my own sanity because I was around like madness all day.
Bacteria eating you from the inside out. I mean, prior to that day, if someone had questioned you, hey, tomorrow you're going to be in a hospital, and a week from now you're going to be in a room with a schizophrenic and a guy whose voice box is damaged, who shit themselves and tease nurses about fucking rubbing their fucking, you know, their schlongs. You just said, what are you, crazy? I'm not spending Christmas like that. There's no way in hell.
And Thanksgiving and New Year's.
There you go.
Dude, I was in it for
the fucking trifecta there. I mean, it's really quite the... And listen, I am glad that we are talking today. You have returned. It joys me to no end.
Yeah, and I'm healing up.
But this whole scenario is truly... I mean, from the outside looking in, from my perspective, it does resemble a horrific thing. It's definitely not something that you'd buy a ticket for intentionally.
Nah, man.
To do.
No, it was bad. It was like I said, the pain was just so bad, dude. And I was saying, like, it hurt to just like change position in the bed. Like, forget getting up out of bed. Like, I couldn't even, like, if I was down too far where my feet were hitting the bottom of my bed and I wanted to move up a little, like, I couldn't even like scooch up on the bed. Like, it hurt so much.
Or if you cough or something, I can...
forget it. Yeah, man.
I know. Jeez Louise, that must have been fucking terrible. But, hey, you're on the mend now. You are out. You are a free bird.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Yep. I'm doing okay, man. I mean, I'm still at the point where I'm in bed a lot. So to just kind of say where my spine is at now, I guess the infection is cleared. Like, they gave me enough antibiotics where they said I don't have, like, my blood levels look like it's okay. And if I start feeling any certain symptoms, I got to call and go back, right away. But it seems like I'm good. Like, the infection's gone. But the other thing is that the infection did so much damage where I'm now basically missing a whole disc in between two of my vertebrae, and the vertebrae themselves have a lot of damage because the bone was eaten, and it was called osteomyelitis, is this infection or the condition I had, where it's like, whatever, it's like the bone's all weakened and porous now and shit because of this infection. And but anyway, so the infection is gone, the bacteria is all gone, and now that the disc is gone, I have to wait for the two vertebrae to naturally like fuse together into one big bone and do it naturally. Like, they're not going to open me up and do anything. They said it'll just happen naturally, like slowly, like a tree growing around a fucking barbed wire fence. Like, it just slowly happens naturally.
Yeah, but that takes years.
Well, I mean, that does, but supposedly the spine shit they said it could happen in a matter of like months. And within those months, I'm in still a good amount of pain because now shit's all grinding. I don't have that, whatever it is, cartilage disc in between them. So they're grinding together. And yeah, so there's still a lot of pain, but I'm still on some painkillers. I'm weaning off those, and I'm walking more and more because they say that the more I'm up and strengthening the muscles around the spine, the better it'll feel because I'll be stronger. You know, the muscles will hold it up instead of just relying on the spine to do it. So anyway, so that's where I'm at. I'm trying to like strengthen shit. I'm still in bed a lot, but it's, you know, I'm up more and more. I wear like a back brace. I've slowly moved from not being able to get out of bed to walking with a walker to walking with a cane to now I'm mostly walking without anything. And I just, you know, I keep saying I can do everything, but it just hurts when I do it. Like I can walk up and down stairs. I can walk, but it just hurts a lot. So
yeah,
it sucks, you know, but it is what it is. I'm positive about it. And, yeah, so.
I mean, it's great because when all this first went down, you weren't positive you'd ever walk again. I mean,
oh my God. Yeah.
There's a point in time there when you're getting your diagnosis and you get the sriracha eating you from the inside out that the doctors are like, well, you may be able to walk fine. You may recover. You may not. You know what I mean? So your future was uncertain and a little bit cloudy. So to hear that you've taken these progressive steps from walker to cane to just now the back brace and unassisted performing tasks is a wonderful sign.
Hell yeah, man. I can't tell you how happy I am. Cause yeah, there was a period. There were some depressed nights, dude. When I remember when I got to the nursing home and they were like, here, we want to see how much self cleanup you can do, you know, gave me like a bucket of water and some rags and said, here, try to wash yourself up. And dude, I felt so helpless because I couldn't even like, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't even clean myself. So I was like, I like broke down. I was having a rough time, dude. I was depressed and you can't help but feel like I may never fucking walk again because I can't even move. I can't even like I could barely wipe my own ass. That was the one thing I kept telling myself, like, I am wiping my own ass. Like I may need help getting to the bathroom and I may need help sitting down, but I'm not letting someone else wipe my own ass. Like my dignity had not let me get to that point yet, but you know, I had people in my room getting diapers changed. So I'm like, it becomes normalized after a while, but I still was like, no, I can clean the shit out of my asshole myself.
Let me tell you, Mr. Man, the whole concept of wiping your ass is archaic anyway. I mean, I'm a bidet user.
A bidet, yeah. But they didn't have one at the nursing home.
Well, that would have solved a lot of problems. You just turn a little knob and whoo, there you go. Your tush is
that's true.
Sparkling clean.
Dude.
Yes.
We need to start some kind of like fundraiser or marketing campaign for bidets to like for nursing homes. Like that's the new thing.
We shouldn't have to do anything. That should just be a given. I don't understand how that's not already institutionalized thing inside these places places because for me, I don't understand the concept of toilet paper anymore. I really don't.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like caveman stuff we're talking about here.
Dude, you and all the Europeans.
Me and all the Europeans. And if I go to a friend's house and I need to use the restroom, I look, I go, well, no bidet. I can't stay. Hey,
yeah.
And that's just, everybody thinks I'm crazy. Everybody.
No.
But still, what I'm saying is if you had lost the ability to wipe your ass, there's ways around it. I understand it was a big deal for you.
That's true. Yeah.
Did you learn anything from your neighbors, though, now that you were at home? And I mean, primarily, when you wake up in the morning, do you ever tell your girlfriend to flick your boner?
I was doing that before I met that guy. I was just...
He didn't teach me shit. That was my game long before I met fucking... See, I just forgot his name now.
Well, that was Frank. That was a different guy. That was the roommate I got after Richard moved out. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. So that was Frankie boy. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, listen, I met a lot of interesting characters, and I know how to be a pervert without some old men telling me, but I just was amused by the fact of people with dementia, like, trying to get some from people they had no idea who they were. Like, they're probably just opening their eyes and somebody's wiping their taint and they're like, ooh, while you're down there, and it just seems natural. Especially when you first wake up first thing in the morning, you're like, hey.
Look what I got there.
Yeah,
Well, hello there, Mr. Winky Pants. I can see your book now, like you'd write your version of The Hobbit from your days being institutionalized in prison to the rehab facility. It'd be from Cujo to Richard. and back again, and you tell the stories of all these crazy motherfuckers you have lived with in these various various places here. Now, they're all colorful, they're all very interesting, and they're all fairly humorous. So that's that's actually, I might, more than the whole bidet thing you were kind of throwing at me, the book deal might be more feasible.
That's true, man, because, you know, I could just write a book about I've lived a life of being forced to live with people, you know, like most people pick their roommates or pick this or that. The lifestyle I've lived, there's been a lot of like being told who I'm going to live with, whether you like it or not. And, you know, so you meet some characters in those situations. So I'm sure I could write a book, or at least, you know, have characters inspired by a lot of people. Like I have no shortage of inspirations for characters, you know, in my life.
The only flaw with that plan is nobody reads books anymore. It just has to be like a long form tweet. You're like, my roommate's a thread.
I have a collection of memes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And this is a meme, so I know it's true. Everything he says is the truth.
Yes. I speak in GIFs.
Yeah.
GIFs.
Well, that's up for debate. I still say
GIF. I like GIF too.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
GIF sounds like gift, like it's a pleasure.
That's right.
It comes in a box.
And GIF sounds like peanut butter.
Yeah, it does, which is the same thing the nurses' aides were cleaning out of your roommate's cracks in the morning when they suggested playing with their phallic flubberies there or whatever. But hey, you know.
Wow.
Now,
there's no shortage of smells in that room, I tell you.
Do you want to get into that? Do you really want to talk about that?
I really don't. No. I really don't. I kind of want to forget about it.
Thank God you were eating all those edibles and taking all those
oh my God,
Dilaudids or everything else that you were on.
You wouldn't believe it.
Oh God, that
Dilaudid, morphine, oxycodone, all of it, man.
Yeah, that's boy, God. You know, but you know, I mentioned this earlier. I've probably said it 100 times and I haven't even realized it, but I'm going to say it again. So maybe I am realizing it. Did that make any sense? Probably not.
Yeah, it made a little sense.
But anyway, it's a joy to have you back.
Dude, it's a joy to be back, man. It's awesome.
But we normally...
I want to say quickly, though, how I really appreciate Toby filling in.
Yes.
Because you guys did a great job. Like, you guys have some awesome chemistry, and I think you guys, you know, you guys could have a career doing shows together, man, because, I don't know, you guys did great, and I appreciate it, Toby. I appreciate you, Dave, for holding down the fort while I wasn't here. And, yeah, because you guys put out some great episodes while I was fucking gone. And, yeah, all I have to talk about is my depressing last 2 months. So, I don't know, maybe I should be nervous that you guys are going to take over without me.
No.
Change the name, like I said.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I'm just fucking around.
Toby was a trooper. Toby Schofield of the Secret Transmissions podcast. If you're like a first-time listener and you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? Toby filled in for the last 2 months, and he was an absolute superstar. And I know he's listening, so yes, thank you, Toby. But my whole thing about talking about the wonderfulness, the absolute great feeling to have you return is... We didn't, because we were so excited to talk again.
Yes.
We didn't plan for your regular segment.
Right.
Which is Nate's Notes.
I will. Yes.
And
I want to go on. I'm sorry.
Your passion being music, and a lot of people look forward to it. And I'm only bringing this up because there might be somebody in the audience out there who said, hey, great, Nate's back. Now, where's my fucking Nate's Notes? Because it's always a very informative, direct, in-depth look at different genres of music and what you're listening to, but that will indeed return.
That's right.
This time around, we, you know, with your absence being so long, we really just wanted to kind of dive into what you've been up to and what happened to you.
That's right. That's right, man. I am eager to delve back into music the way, I mean, believe me, with all the time I've had laying in a bed, I have plenty of time to listen to new things and whatnot, so I am excited to do that again. But yeah, man, I mean, there was just so much to talk about today, and I just wanted to get back into the swing of recording, so I'm glad we were able to do that, and I hope our listeners are patient and will excuse me for being lazy and not writing a Nate's Notes. God knows I had 2 months to fucking do it.
No, you were a little preoccupied there. You know what I mean? It wasn't like priority number one. It's health.
Right.
Health takes precedent over writing a biopic about, I don't know,
about post-rock and Norwegian blackened industrial death metal mathcore.
I was waiting for you to like totally roast me over the coals for bringing up such a shitty band.
Oh, listen, I hate Blink-182 as much as the next guy, but I thought that was a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke. No. You're right. It was a joke. But I mean, you went on where you're like...
It's always a good sign when you have to say it was a joke,
Yeah, no,
right?
that's the worst. But the thing is you were like, Nordic, Black Death, sludge, rock. And I'm like, Blink-182. I
think Blink-182 is doing blackened industrial death metal.
Oh, is that what they're doing now?
Yeah, that's their new thing.
Oh, okay. I heard Eminem just came out with a new record.
He did, and it's all right. It's all right. It's pretty good. Yeah,
he looks like Tom York, right? He's got that fucking whole look going on now.
He does, but without the lazy eye.
I thought that's what it was the lazy eye. Didn't he have a droopy eye?
Well, Tom York does.
Well, yeah, I know, but I thought Eminem had one of those now too. Like,
does he really? I didn't even notice. Maybe I haven't seen recent pictures. I've heard the new album, but I did not see a picture. I don't think.
I know he dyes his beard.
Yes.
Which is something that I gave up doing, so I'm kind of like hoarding it over Eminem. Like, you may be rich and successful and, whatever, but I stopped dyeing my beard. I accepted my fate.
Yeah, man.
So suck it, Eminem.
At least he stopped dyeing his hair blonde, It's like he went natural brown. Although I'm sure he's got grays that he's dyeing up there too. But,
sure.
But I just mean he started as a blonde. He started by dyeing his hair. Anyway.
Yeah, we're totally going off the rails here. See that? I was talking about bringing up music and this whole thing.
That was your Nate's Notes, guys. That was it.
Surprise. Congratulations. Eminem looks like Tom York and he's old. That's what you get. I do want to mention to all the listeners out there, if you ever want to reach us, it is easy. You can find us on all your socials at Selling Out Show, or shoot me an email, sellingoutshow@gmail.com. Nate, you have anything else you want to say before we wrap this bad bitch up?
Oh, man. I think I'm good for today, but I just want to say again how much I appreciate being back, and I appreciate you guys doing awesome episodes while I was gone, and I look forward to doing more.
Right on, right motherfucking on. Well, virtual hugs for all of you, because I want to thank you all for listening. You rock, you rule, I drool. Now let's get our asses back to school. I am Dave. That is, in fact, Nate. And this has been The Selling Out Show.
Peace.
Yes.
Infirmary Media.